Drive-thru workers of Reddit. What's the weirdest thing you've seen in someone's car? A lizard chilling on someone's dashboard being fed veggies. A cat was also in the same car. When I worked at Dunkin' Donuts, this guy came through the drive-thru with a huge falcon in his passenger seat. A baby kangaroo. To clarify, I live in New England and this is not normal. To be honest, I was just out of view of it, but it caused quite a clamor. A tortoise that took up the whole passenger seat. Well, it wouldn't have taken him too long to walk there. Working drive-thru at Starbucks, some guy pulled through with car filled with boxes. He said they were filled with flashlights and offered me some. I completely forgot about it till I got off work. When I got out to my car, there were 5 boxes each filled with 20 brand new Duracell flashlights still in the packaging. Had to be worth at least $500. And he had many more boxes. eBay? This was definitely a robbery. A woman came through with no passenger side seat. It had been pulled out, and in its place hung a giant metal ring with an enormous cockatoo sitting on it. Thing was going mental when she pulled up. There are some crazy bird people out there. I knew a lady who let her parrot sleep in her bed. She rolled over in her sleep and smothered the poor thing. Also, her shirts all had shit stains trailing down them from letting the bird just sit and poop on her shoulders. The lady who lives across the street from me has had tons of birds in her house. She used to leave her windows open and the birds would be squawking all day, and I think she got a noise complaint because I've seen cops show up at her house and talk to her. Since then she kept her windows closed. I also remember on Halloween when I was younger, she would invite kids into her house to come look at the birds and parents would run up and take their kids away. Me and my friends stayed clear. It's been a while, and during the times I've been back home, I don't ever hear the birds, so I don't know if she still has them. I called the cops one morning as I was getting ready for work, at like 4:30 am. Earlier I think than most people, because I swore I heard a woman screaming, "Help, help me," screaming. They investigate where it's coming from and turns out my neighbors had an illegal exotic bird who was losing it over being held captive alone and was making its displeasure known. AWW, poor baby. You did save a screaming woman that day actually. My mother used to work the drive-thru at Burger King when she was a teenager. She told me that a man used to come through some nights completely naked except for black see-through stockings. Thigh highs or all the way up. All the way up. She said his junk was squished in like a sleeping squirrel. Back when I worked drive-thru at a McDonald's, I had this guy ordering who, number 1, took like 5 minutes to order a breakfast burrito and a drink, so I was pretty fed up already when he got to the window. When this car pulled up, I was really not expecting to see a chick wearing nothing but a bra and panties in the backseat snorting cocaine off of an iPhone. I was staring at her while I took the guy's cash and she glanced up and noticed me and ducked down a little bit. Like, "Babe, you're in a pretty short car. If I can see the floor from here I can definitely see you." Guy just drove off to the next window like nothing happened. Also served a lady on a horse one time and was subsequently told they had to be in a motor vehicle to come through the drive-thru. But that wasn't as strange since there are horses in our area. That story escalated quickly. IKR. Horses are fucking wild. I once saw a woman roll up to the window and she must have been a dominatrix as she had a man in the back in a leather outfit and a rubber pig mask. I can only imagine that was his kink to get embarrassed at a KFC drive-thru. "Here's your 6-piece. Would you like me to humiliate him? Because I can do that free of charge." This is someone who understands customer service. I work at a drive-thru car wash. Woman came through with a bucket of KFC mashed potatoes stuck to her window. We cleaned it off. When I was working at McDonald's, one time a woman pulled up with 3 monkeys and ordered them each an ice cream cone. I still think about that from time to time. And I thought it was weird that this lady used to come through every morning and ordered a sausage biscuit for her poodle. For months, I just thought she liked sausage biscuits because she came through every day. Then one day we ran out of biscuits. She said, "Oh, that's okay," and pointed at the poodle in the passenger seat. "He only eats the sausage anyway." From then on, we saved her close to $1.50 per week on dog food because asking for a sausage patty cost less than a sausage biscuit. I once complimented a woman on her purse that was in the exact shape of a chicken. It was made of colored rubber. Really unique item. She proceeds to tell me to hold on, gets out of the car and grabs an identical chicken purse and gives it to me, saying that she has been waiting for the right person to give this to. It was used and quite old. Not a drive-through worker, but I was in the passenger seat at a drive-through bank and had a funny experience. Friend was depositing money. The teller sends back a receipt and a dog treat. Confused, my friend asks what the dog treat is for. The teller points and says your dog in the back seat. At that point, my friend's younger sister, who had been leaning forward brushing her own hair, looked up at the teller. The teller was very apologetic for her confusion, and we all had a good laugh. Well, except for the sister. She wasn't too thrilled about being confused for a dog. Once had a hearse complete with coffin pull-through followed by family and friends and the cars behind. They said the guy in the coffin always enjoyed McDonald's, so it was his final wish to be visit one more time. Used to work at the drive-thru of Starbucks for some extra money about a year ago. I once had a couple drive up and the girl had a bunch of bags on her and in front of her feet. From what I could tell, there were sex toys. It was like 10 bags but I just averted my eyes and handed them their drinks. Needless to say, the guy was pretty embarrassed because he could tell I was uncomfortable. I was the driver in this case, but I worked at a grocery store, and our order of bananas hadn't come in. I was asked to go to another store in our chain and pick up extra bananas they had in stock. Decided to grab some food on the way back, with my car packed to the brim with bananas. The cashier seemed relatively unfazed, and just said huh, that's a lot of bananas. Worked at McDonald's, especially in drive-thru. Saw a hoarder who could only go to our McDonald's because we didn't have a sharp turn into our parking lot. Her car was too filled she couldn't use her steering wheel. Had someone with a pet pig and duck. Gave them free ice cream. Some dude was getting head. He was the driver. Couple sitting in the backseat were also doing sexual things. He was fingering her and kissing her neck. A cardboard cutout of I shit you not, Danny DeVito. Good times. The gang goes to McDonald's. One time someone just snorted cocaine right in front of me. That and one time someone had a duck and a towel in between her boobs. He was cold, duck. A giant, industrial-sized trash bag full of nachos. It pretty much took up the entire back seat. When I asked the guy where he was going to get enough salsa for those chips he genuinely seemed disappointed because he hadn't thought of that. Apparently the Mexican restaurant next door was throwing them out and the guy asked if he could have them because he was stoned and it seemed like a good idea at the time. More than a dozen teenagers in a small hot boxed car $0.39 for a cheeseburger limit 20 was the deal. They ordered 20. What country is this where a cheeseburger is $0.39? Chick-fil-A butt ass naked, except a hat and sandals. Middle-aged long-haired guy pulls through in a Jeep with all the doors and top taken off. We still served him. No one was comfortable looking at him except for me. I was the window person. I didn't make an expression and acted like it was nothing to me and his goofy smile faded pretty quick after the less than enthusiastic my pleasure. Everyone thought I was God. Me 1. Pervert 0. Edit. Holy shit the upvotes. I just asked my mom if I had actually told her that story before as I didn't live in state when it happened. I guess I failed to mention this happened in the middle of the lunch rush, and she said that made it even funnier. So yes, this was in the middle of lunch rush. We would often do well over 100 cars and sometimes could hit 200 in the window of 11 AM to 1 PM. If I recall correctly. Nice. I also work at Chick-fil-A and I was at the window and these girls came up and were giggling like crazy, so as I'm about to hand them the food they moved forward and rolled down the back window so I could see the girl in the back with a strap on dildo on and some other thing strapped to her face. Not sure what it was. I think I disappointed them because I didn't react. I just stood there until they grabbed the food and drove off. Business as usual. I wasn't the worker by instead the driver. I pulled through while holding a live chicken that I was bringing to my sister. Working night shift at Burger King, had a group of girls flash me for free food. Seemed like a fair trade at the time. What do you mean at the time? Sounds great at any time to me. A lady in labor, in the driver's seat, by herself. ordering food. She was literally having contractions and doing the weird breathing thing that women are supposed to do to help with the pain. She said she was on the way to the hospital but she wanted to get a burger, fries, and a soda before she went. There wasn't even anyone with her. That lady drove herself to the hospital while having contractions and chowing down on a goddamn burger. Just a couple of naked girls trying to cover themselves with the same blanket, and then you realized you were dreaming?